Amos is an angry prophet. He's been pulled away by God from his home into the difficult task of speaking truth to power to the northern kingdom of Israel. He's been denouncing those with powers who live in the kingdom for their greed and their oppression of the poor. He is angry and he's lost hope because he is sure that God's message is falling on deaf ears. He's resigned to the nation's destruction because they will not change their wicked ways. And God says as much at the beginning of this vision. The end has come for my people, and I will no longer spare them. In this text, we hear God describing their wickedness. The people are ruled by greed that causes exploitation and death. They trample on the poor. They can't wait for the Sabbath to be over so that they can make money. The poor are enslaved. Lying and deceitfulness is pervasive, and the fields and nature are being destroyed for profit. Doesn't that sound familiar? Everyone is suffering because of the greed of those with wealth and power. And God's judgment is clear. Those perpetrators will suffer. The time is surely coming, God says, when I will send a famine on the land, not a famine of bread or a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. They shall wander from sea to sea, from north to east, and they shall run to and fro, seeking the word of the Lord, but they shall not find it. The consequence of greed is separation from God. Greed is as pervasive today as it was then. And the judgment and the consequence are the same. There is no relationship with God. It may interest you to know that the CNN business webpage contains a fear and greed index. It's right at the top. You can't miss it. It measures the extent to which either fear or greed is driving the stock market. And it probably won't surprise you to know that the scale is extreme fear on one end and extreme greed on the other. And the markets have been motivated by extreme greed for the past, 6 months or so. And I think that's true beyond the stock market. And the relationship between fear and greed is really quite interesting. The defense against fear is to control, to take power, to protect ourselves from whatever it is we're perceiving as a threat. The most foundational one are those that bump up against our true identity, feelings of insecurity. We fill ourselves up until our insecurities are met, at least temporarily. We get stuck in the constant, unconscious cycle of the desire for more, of the drive to accumulate. And greed takes many forms: financial, material, power, experiential. We live in a culture addicted to material greed, to consumption. It has become our God. It has become the idol we worship, and we are no longer grounded in God. We have forgotten, or perhaps have never known, our identity as God's beloved. We know ourselves as consumers. We use goods and services to fill ourselves up, to build our self-worth, to distract us from the inner distress and discomfort we live with. And this consumption separates us from Jesus, the only one who can truly fill us up and who truly knows us. And the impact of greed extends beyond ourselves. We can become self-centered, develop a lack of empathy for others. We can become manipulative and cause harm. The reality is we are children of God, not the children of Mammon. Now, some of you might be hearing that term for the first time. Mammon is the term that Jesus uses to describe material wealth that has become an idol. So we need today's gospel to help us to defeat Mammon. So place the image of greed and separation from God alongside the gospel image of Mary and Martha. We are given this image of Martha being busy at work while Mary sits at Jesus' feet listening to him. Mary has assumed a traditional posture of a disciple, while Martha, as the writer describes her, is distracted by many tasks. It seems, at least to me, that the narrator has taken a judgmental tone towards Martha. But she too has assumed a posture of the disciple. She's not engaged in mindless activities. Her work is providing a meal for Jesus. And the word translated as tasks in our text today is diakonia, deacon, the ministry of caring. In this case, Martha is caring for her guest by providing a meal. She's not needlessly busy. She's feeding Jesus. She is serving the Lord. A noble and worthy task, to be sure. The normative expectation in that period of time would have been for all the women in the house to be serving the guest. But this story is showing us that serving the Lord begins first in resting at his feet in love, not in service. Jesus responds to Martha's complaining that Mary should be helping by saying that there is only one thing that is needed: to be near to Jesus. Being near to Jesus defeats Mammon. There is a mutuality in sitting at Jesus' feet that heals our inner world and begins to change the way we live in the world. As we rest with him, listen to him, he hears the deepest longing of our hearts to be seen, to be known, to be loved. Both Martha and Mary long to be seen by Jesus. Whether kneeling at his feet or in busily preparing a meal, they both have that same longing. Collapsing in his lap, Mary is saying, "Do you see me?" In her busyness, Martha is asking, "See how busy I am? Do you see me?" I keep thinking of a line from the Goo Goo Dolls song that says this: "I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am." Discipleship is the balance between doing and being. Coming to know ourselves as Jesus knows us, we learn how he calls us to share our gifts in the world. To share and to give is an antidote to greed. Sitting at Jesus' feet, we learn that we are called to live in a particular way. To live in the reality of God's kingdom is an ethic. It's a way of life. If we don't have the experience of being seen by Jesus, how can we ever know what it means to be seen? How can we ever truly see Jesus in others and in creation? How can we ever see Jesus in them? How can we know what it means to be filled up with the divine rather than seeking the emptiness that always comes with accumulation? The brokenness in the world, the greed, the oppression emerges when our true identity is getting bumped up, when it's getting lost and broken. Archbishop Justin Welby points out that true disciples of Jesus free themselves from the principles and the spirit of Mammon. And that freedom requires that we are honest that we are honest in how we use our resources and our abundance, whether it's put to service of God, whether it's used to serve Mammon, or whether it's used to insulate oneself from oneself or from those with whom we feel discomfort. Jesus' disciples who spend time at his feet will seek the welfare and benefit of others who are weak, who need help, who are vulnerable. Those who seek power through wealth are living in an older age. But unfortunately, it is an age that we never seem to break away from. Money and resources should be used as an instrument to build relationships of abundance and grace. As followers of Jesus, the ethic is clear. We stay near to Jesus, claiming our identity as his beloved, and we share his love in the world. If we do that, we break the cycle of greed and oppression and walk the path of love and healing. In a moment, we will commission 5 members of our Redeemer community who have been resting at Jesus' feet and have heard the call to the ministry of healing. John will join us as a lay anointer. He, Sharon, Tony, Georgie, and Susan will be commissioned as lay visitors. It has been a singular blessing to be walking alongside them these past 2 years as they have prayed and trained to serve, hearing God calling each of them to join in God's healing ministry. Friends, it is my prayer for all of us and for this community that we continue to kneel at Jesus' feet, that we continue to rest in him, and may we hear with open hearts how he calls us to serve the world he loves. Amen.